Hello, everybody. I'm your host, Eric Bird, here at StopStrugglingNow.com. And today we're talking about Dominican Republic tourist information. Another record when you count airfare arrivals and cruise arrivals. But as you guys know, we're going to get into the numbers. And pay attention, investors, business owners, or people that live on the island. And welcome to the SSN Nation Dominican Republic Tourism Report. First and only edition, because we talk about this every month. Stop Struggling Now gear. Check. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. Now, let's get to it. All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you so much for being here. Please share the videos, because you never know who needs this information, especially, again, if you're an investor on the island, if you're wannabe business owner or a business owner, you need to pay attention to the tourism numbers. I will talk about it because I have to. When we get there, you're going to find out that we are on pace to be slightly above last year's, and what I mean, 100,000 to 200,000. But first, here's the Stop Struggling Now YouTube channel page, podcast page. Please share this page. Let people know we talk about a myriad of things that helps you. Debt relief, credit help, investing, stocks, real estate, and other items that can help you. So, let's get into it, shall we? Dominican Republic shatters record, attracts 9.2 million visitors through October. Can you hear me on podcast? This includes cruise and airfare numbers combined. We're going to get into it. I'll have a link down below in the description boxes, no matter where you're watching from, and you can get the link to this article. It's very, very simple. They are touting 9,283,767 visitors January 1st through October 31st. Isn't that nice? They are also touting generating 815,000 jobs and adding more than $15 billion to the country's economy. That seems very, very nice. Okay, that's what we want, right? So, 3% above last year is the tourist number. So the tourist number thus far is 7,168,505 for the month of October 2025, which represents an increase of, as I mentioned, 3% above last year. So how do we get to that 9 million number? Well, it's because there are 2,115,262 cruise passengers that arrive by sea. And because they built so many new cruise ports, that has allowed for an increase in cruise passengers. But again, you guys know, we look at it straight. It does us no good to worry about cruise passengers. They are typically on the island 5-7 hours max. They take their excursions, they get back on the boat, they leave. So that number I totally disregard myself as an investor, just so you guys understand. So we'll keep it moving. Let's go. We're going to keep going because I don't go by just these numbers. We start looking at something else. Here it is. The countries of origin that contributed the most visitors in October were the United States at 38%, Canada with 10%. You have to understand that has decreased. That is a total of 48%. Those are the top two countries. And the reason why, the top two countries that send their tourists to the Dominican Republic. Here goes the numbers by tourismanalytics.com, Dominican Republic. You can see the real numbers, and here it is right here. The numbers you see year to date, the numbers last year, and what you see is a 2.6% increase. And you guys know how I've always talked about it over the years. We needed 9.5 to 10 million in 2025 in order to sustain tourism for hotels, short-term rentals, and for businesses, because you need more people to increase demand. And if you don't get that, which now we are not going to be at 9.5, now the next marker in 2026 was going to be 10.5. So we're going to be 2 million behind potentially next year if we don't have similar numbers or an increase. I don't know where we're going to get that increase from, because once again, we're having problems with these two countries having 80% United States citizens are living paycheck to paycheck and 85% of Canadian. So, reason why we have more to talk about. Let's get into this. Where is it? I got to go find it. Apparently they changed this up. Here's what I want you guys to pay attention to. Look at this. Here's numbers don't lie. USA, they are down 3.7% year to date. That's 2025, January 1st through October 31st, down 3.7%. And Canadians down 6.1%. The top two countries, we're talking about over 140,000 roughly, a little over that, Canadian. And we were talking about 100,000 less USA citizens. Some other country has to make up the difference, and that is what's happening, because Argentina has a 71%, so they've been able to make up that 200 or 130, 150,000 difference, and also Colombia. I do not expect them to be able to duplicate this in future years, and they need literally 2 million more visitors by air to make it viable as an investor if you plan on doing things on the island and hotels. Why do I say that? Because you can see right here, hotel performance down ever since March. Starting in March, it's been negative. And January and February was 0% change, 2024, 2025. That's February. January, 0.9%, 0.9% change for January 2024 to 2025. Starting in March, it's been going downhill. Negative 2% for March, negative 3.6. Everybody can see it on the screen. So once again, this is of concern because they're adding another 8 to 10,000 hotel rooms on the island and another 6 to 8,000 short-term rentals on the island. And remember, they're adding condo hotels. And I don't know what they're marking those as, but just keep in mind, there's a lot of that going on now. So this is fizzling, and nobody wants to see 83%, 86%, 81% in the 70 percentile range. And heaven forbid when you go under 70%, which has been the last 3 months. That means you don't have enough demand. So again, be very, very cautious. And last year, just so you guys can see, it was 8.5 million tourists. We're at 7.1 right now. There needs to be, on average, 700,000 just to break even. I anticipate around 700,000 in the month of November, if it's not bad weather. And I expect more than 700,000 in December, because that's the history. So they should get at least, this will be 8.7 8.750, somewhere in that area. I anticipate that this will end up, and that will not be that great because this is 2024, ladies and gentlemen. They have 1.4 million to go just to make it 8.5-ish. So again, we're not going to have these same numbers from the top two countries. Just keep that in mind. And with all that said, thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. And please like, subscribe, and click the bell below so you get the latest updates. And I know it's hard out here, ladies and gentlemen, and it's going to get a lot harder. Because if tourism stays in the same 8.7 to 9.9 million next year, this is not going to help because they're going to add another 6, 7, 8,000 short-term rentals, somewhere in that range, and another 8 to 10,000 hotel units. Remember, there's a lot of projects that are going to be finished up, including the hotel industry that started 5 years ago. 6 years ago. They haven't even come out. So just think about all that. If you plan on investing there, or if you are an investor there, and this is why you cannot buy too expensively. Your day of cheap 0.1% of your purchase price as a marker for your rental is what you should be paying attention to. I implore you. Do not overpay because you think everything's going to be fine in the future. You don't know what the future holds. But you do know when you're buying, when you're making investments, you know what the climate is right now, and you need to make an understanding with yourself using real statistical data, not somebody talking good or bad. You have to live with your decision. And with all that said, be safe out there. I love you guys very much. Thank you so much for your support over all these years. And with all that said, keep your head up, keep moving, and I'm out.